Hey guys, in this video I want to show you a case study of a client I worked with last year. He came to me with a quite confused set of symptoms, complained about low energy, he complained about not having the same sex drive he used to have, not having the same performance he used to have. He had difficulties concentrating, he was a bit moody, anxious, he carried more body fat than he could explain himself with the diet he was on, and he also had difficulties building muscle even though he was really trying. And he's a 27-year-old guy, or 27-year-old at the time, entrepreneur, quite successful, everything else pretty much going on point in his life, but this one thing, like this health issue, was something he couldn't quite figure out. He came to me and we started working together. So the first thing that I did with him was do a comprehensive blood panel. Any type of system, any type of business, and if you don't have data to work with, it's really difficult to figure out what's going on. If you have a business coach, he must know your metrics, your key performance indicator, in the same way like a decent coach will get proper blood work and some type of data to actually make a decision and figure out what's going on. So this is what we did. I have a blood work panel I use with most of my clients initially, that is quite comprehensive but doesn't break the bank and really covers a wide range of health topics. And so this is what came back. We did this test in August. 2nd of August was the blood draw, and then we got the results back about a week later. And the one thing that initially or right away stood out was he had quite low levels of testosterone. Testosterone, you measured on a range. You have an upper reference range and you have a lower reference range. This reference range is not age adjusted. So an 80-year-old necessarily should have lower levels than a 27-year-old. And at 27 years of age, having a testosterone levels of just 350 is quite low. I would consider that testosterone deficient. And it really well explained all of the symptoms he was experiencing. So this was a really good guess. If we fix testosterone, then most likely his symptoms would get better. So that's what we made it the goal of this 90-day program, was getting his testosterone levels as high as possible or back into normal range at least, and then see how far we can bring them. And that's what we did. We started 2 days later, on the 10th of August, we began this process. And the process consisted of a ton of different things, but I'll focus here on 3. Number 1, we fixed his sleep. He really wasn't sleeping that well. He was sleeping at odd times. He wasn't sleeping, I would say, exactly enough. And he wasn't sleeping very deep and very restoratively. And so we focused on making changes in order to accomplish that by changing his habits, how he found into his sleeping, how he went to bed at night, the kind of like a routine in order to shut down, put the phone away, settle down, so he's actually in bed and then can also fall asleep. When to use caffeine, when not to use caffeine, different supplements that help with sleep, like for example, L-theanine, melatonin, all sorts of things like that. And using meditation to shut off the like thinking part of his brain before he goes to bed. And then also using light therapy like blue light blockers and blue lights in the morning in order to rearrange the circadian rhythm. He was also doing intermittent fasting. And while this is for some people a good way to lose weight, it can also really mess with your sleep patterns and other people. So we fixed his sleep and we actually measured the results we got with something like this. It's called the Aura Ring. It's a sleep tracker. And so we got data that he actually was sleeping. He was sleeping at better times. He was sleeping more restoratively. He was sleeping slightly longer. And hormones are being produced while you sleep in the middle of the night. And so if you don't sleep correctly, if you don't sleep enough, if you wake up all the time, then your hormone levels will just not be as good as they could be. Number two, we changed his diet and exercise. He worked out quite a lot, but I would say with a protocol that was not really aligning with the goals he had set for himself. And also because he wanted really bad to build muscle, he was in the gym a lot. And I would say he was overworking his system, and pushing himself too far, not giving his body enough time to recover. And so, in order to improve his results, we actually drastically cut down the amount of volume and time he spent working out. I put him on a program that is just 30 minutes per week, split up in two sessions of 15 minutes each. So, from going 5 times a week, now we cut that down to going 30 minutes a week. And then his diet, we also changed that. He was on a ketogenic diet. He was like, I guess it's a trend right now. Everybody's on keto. And while keto is a great tool, it's a tool, and tools have a purpose. And if the purpose and the tool are misaligned, then that's an issue. And I felt that for his specific case, for what he was trying to achieve, keto was not the best approach. And then thirdly, we used very specific supplements that have an amazing track record of increasing testosterone production, especially giving his specific case where I looked at different values as well. I saw his luteinizing hormone is low. You don't have to know exactly what this means, but I could basically see from these results that the problem was not with his testicles and his intrinsic ability to produce testosterone, but somewhere other in the system. His body was just not motivated to produce testosterone, if I can formulate it like that. And so that's what we did. Put him on a program, started the process, and let's see how that developed. So 1 month later, on the 5th of September, we tested for the first time again. And you can see his numbers already drastically improved. He went from being in the lower end of testosterone levels to now, within less than 1 month, moving right into the middle. And these are changes that you can absolutely feel. He felt those changes right away. Within 30 days, he basically became a different person. He came back into his normal self. He felt like he had more energy. He was also sleeping better, as we said. He had more drive. He had more higher libido, higher performance. He was really like, his confidence came back, his mood came back, his ability to concentrate went up. A bunch of things really happened for him very quickly that had a huge impact on how he felt and performed. So that's great. And then we kept this process going. If this had just been the end result of the whole 3 months, that already would have been amazing. To get someone from the low end into just feeling normal, feeling back to his old self, that's already a huge accomplishment. That's worth going through this process. But then on top of that, we just tested him at the end of the 90 days again, and now his values actually came back at 790, which is an extraordinarily great result. I've tested dozens and dozens of guys of different ages, many around my age, between 30 and 40, but also older people, and 790, almost 800, is a great result that I've rarely seen in other people. I personally had 800 before I ever started testing, or when I tested for the first time. And then the highest I've ever gotten my testosterone levels to were 1,200. And those were so high that when the first time I tested them and those results came back, I thought the lab must have made a mistake, and that's not even possible. But then I retested and I found out, well, that's actually true. I actually have these levels of testosterone now. So if you're a guy, if you're, let's say 30 plus, definitely if you're 40 and 50 and you have never taken your testosterone levels, I can only really highly recommend you do this. And if you haven't taken really adequate, deep, thorough blood work in general, then I can also recommend you do that at the same time, because this will really give you a lot of insights. And there might be a ton of guys running around out there who are feeling down, who are feeling anxious, who are feeling moody and depressed, don't know what's going on, blame it on themselves, blame it on something. And it's actually just a hormonal issue that can easily be addressed and fixed. And all of a sudden, all those symptoms, all those problems go away, and you feel like yourself again. Thanks, guys. That's it for the video, and I hope to talk to you soon.